Now comes the discussion of weight and balance. We have covered the importance of weight over and over again, how it affects performance, takeoffs, landings, cruise, etc. Aircraft manufacturers do a lot of testing and then FAA approves the aircraft weights like the maximum takeoff weight, maximum landing weight, etc. Compared to a properly loaded airplane, an overly loaded airplane or overloaded airplane has a longer takeoff roll, higher takeoff speed, reduced rate of climb and angle of climb, reduced cruising speed, shorter range, higher stalling speeds, longer landing roll, etc. etc. Basically, weight is very important when it comes to flying. Balance is a new term. We have not yet discussed balance before. When we say balance, we mean that the aircraft is loaded within the limits and not just checking the weight but also the CG. We discussed CG in aerodynamics and how the position of CG can affect stability of an airplane. The location of this point is very important to airplane's stability and elevator effectiveness. Improper balance of the airplane's load can result in serious control problems. You can avoid these problems by making sure the airplane is loaded within the limits and then taking some time to determine the location of the CG before each flight. Make sure that the position of the CG is within the limits recommended by the manufacturer in the POH. When we say the CG limits are the forward and the aft center of gravity locations within which the aircraft must be operated at a given weight. Also, the CG limits are called the envelope or the range of CG. The CG limits are established by the manufacturer. Sometimes an aircraft is certificated in more than one category, like the Cessna 172S is certificated in normal and the utility category. The CG limits will be different based on the category in which the aircraft is operated in. For example, take a look at this CG location graph. If the CG is not within the limits provided by this envelope, the airplane's load needs to be rearranged or removed to bring it within the limits. And this is the whole essence of understanding weight and balance. This is why we learn weight and balance, so that at a given point, if we are having a flight which has CG out of limits, we must know the different ways we can move the load in order to get it within the limits. Alright, let's discuss some of the important common weight and balance terms that we will come across. The first one is the reference datum. The reference datum is an imaginary vertical plane from which all the horizontal distances are measured from. This is for balance purposes. This is the plane from where you measure the position of the loads and the CG. The CG is calculated with reference to the reference datum, hence the name. Common locations of the reference datum can be the nose of the airplane, the engine firewall, the leading edge of the wing, or even somewhere in the space ahead of the airplane, like in the case of DA-42. Every manufacturer will mention the position of the reference in the POH. Then we have standard empty weight and basic empty weight. Standard empty weight is the weight of the airplane manufactured by the company. This is the standard aircraft. Basic empty weight of an airplane is the standard airplane plus optional equipment, unusable fuel, and full operating fluids including the engine oil. Basically, standard empty weight plus unusable fuel, optional equipment, and operating fluid. When we say unusable fuel, it is that small amount of quantity of fuel in the tanks which cannot be drained nor it can be used safely in the flight. And older airplanes used to use something called licensed empty weight. I'll give you a quick note on what is licensed empty weight and how can you use it if you come across one. Now understand this, the weight of an airplane changes over its lifetime. You might add radios, add equipments, remove equipments, add extra thing. Anything changes weight also changes the CG. It can be a small antenna or might be removing the landing gear and adding floats. Anything that changes weight and CG should be recorded by the mechanic in the maintenance log. You as a pilot must make sure that you are using the most recent weight and balance information of any aircraft or an airplane. As a pilot, you should make sure that you are using the most recent weight and balance information of the aircraft.